Race.
A contest of speed.
The race is to the swift. Racing.
The sport of engaging in contests of speed.
Bicycle racing. Radio.
A communication system based on broadcasting electromagnetic waves.
Cellular phones are linked by radio rather than wires. Rail.
A barrier consisting of a horizontal bar and supports.
She leaned on the ship's rail and gazed out to sea. Railroad.
A line of track providing a runway for wheels.
He walked along the railroad track. Railway.
A track with rails on which trains run.
The railway is still under construction. Rain.
Water falling in drops from vapor condensed in the atmosphere.
The rain had stopped. Raise.
Raise the level or amount of something.
Raise the price of bread. Range.
An area in which something acts or operates or has power or control.
A piano has a greater range than the human voice. Rank.
Relative status.
His salary was determined by his rank and seniority. Rapid.
Done or occurring in a brief period of time.
A rapid rise through the ranks. Rapidly.
With rapid movements.
The business is expanding rapidly. Rare.
Not widely known.
A rare word. Rarely.
Not often.
We rarely met. Rate.
A quantity or amount or measure considered as a proportion of another quantity or amount or measure.
The retention rate. Rather.
More readily or willingly.
I'd rather be in Philadelphia. Raw.
Being unprocessed or manufactured using only simple or minimal processes.
Raw sugar.
Again.
The reformed scout troop has been very active. Reach.
Reach a destination, either real or abstract.
The water reached the doorstep. React.
Show a response or a reaction to something.
How would he react if she told him the truth? Reaction.
A response that reveals a person's feelings or attitude.
He was pleased by the audience's reaction to his performance. Read.
Interpret something that is written or printed.
Read the advertisement. Reader.
A person who enjoys reading.
She's an avid reader. Reading.
The cognitive process of understanding a written linguistic message.
His main reading was detective stories. Read out.
To read something using your voice, especially to other people.
He read out the names of all the winners. Read over.
To read something carefully from beginning to end to look for mistakes or check details.
Always read over your work when you've finished. Ready.
Completely prepared or in condition for immediate action or use or progress.
I am ready to work. Real.
Being or occurring in fact or actuality.
A film based on real life. Realistic.
Aware or expressing awareness of things as they really are.
A realistic view of the possibilities. Reality.
All of your experiences that determine how things appear to you.
For them, demons were as much a part of reality as trees were. Realize.
Perceive mentally.
Does she realize how important this decision is? Really.
In accordance with truth or fact or reality.
They don't really listen to us. Rear.
The side of an object that is opposite its front.
His room was toward the rear of the hotel. Reason.
An explanation of the cause of some phenomenon.
The reason a steady state was never reached was that the back pressure built up too slowly. Reasonable.
Showing reason or sound judgment.
No reasonable person could have objected. Reasonably.
With good sense or in a reasonable or intelligent manner.
He began to talk calmly and reasonably about his future. Recall.
Recall knowledge from memory.
He recalled his student days. Receipt.
The act of receiving.
The receipt of a letter. Receive.
Get something.
Receive payment. Recent.
New.
Recent graduates. Recently.
In the recent past.
He was in Paris recently. Reception.
The manner in which something is greeted.
She did not expect the cold reception she received from her superiors. Reckon.
To think something or have an opinion about something.
It's worth a lot of money, I reckon. Reckon on.
To expect something to happen or to rely on something happening.
They hadn't reckoned on a rebellion. Recognition.
The state or quality of being recognized or acknowledged.
The partners were delighted with the recognition of their work. Recognize.
Identify from having encountered them before.
I recognized her when her wig fell off. Recommend.
Push for something.
The travel agent recommended strongly that we not travel on Thanksgiving Day. Record.
Anything providing permanent evidence of or information about past events.
The film provided a valuable record of stage techniques. Recording.
The act of making a record.
She watched the recording from a soundproof booth. Recover.
Get over an illness or shock.
He's recovering from a heart attack. Red.
Resembling the color of blood or cherries or tomatoes or rubies.
A red dress. Reduce.
Cut down on.
Reduce your daily fat intake. Reduction.
The act of decreasing or reducing something.
A reduction in pollution. Refer.
Make reference to.
He referred to errors in the article. Reference.
A remark that calls attention to something or someone.
The speaker made several references to his wife. Refer to.
To mention or speak about somebody or something.
Her mother never referred to him again. Reflect.
Manifest or bring back.
This action reflects his true beliefs. Reform.
Make changes for improvement in order to remove abuse and injustices.
Reform a political system. Refrigerator.
White goods in which food can be stored at low temperatures.
We have a refrigerator in our kitchen. Refusal.
The act of refusing.
We had one refusal to our invitation. Refuse.
Refuse to accept.
He refused my offer of hospitality. Regard.
A polite expression of desire for someone's welfare.
Give him my kind regards. Regarding.
With respect to.
Your recent letter regarding the above proposal. Region.
The extended spatial location of something.
The farming regions of France. Regional.
Related or limited to a particular region.
A regional dialect. Register.
An official written record of names or events or transactions.
The register of electors. Regret.
Express with regret.
I regret to say that you did not gain admission to Harvard. Regular.
In accordance with fixed order or procedure or principle.
His regular calls on his customers. Regularly.
In a regular manner.
Letters arrived regularly from his children. Regulation.
An authoritative rule.
They obey all the regulations. Reject.
Refuse to accept or acknowledge.
I reject the idea of starting a war. Relate.
Make a logical or causal connection.
I cannot relate these events at all. Related.
Being connected either logically or causally or by shared characteristics.
Painting and the related arts. Relate to.
To be connected with something or somebody.
The second paragraph relates to the situation in Scotland. Relation.
An abstraction belonging to or characteristic of two entities or parts together.
The relation between church and state. Relationship.
A relation between people.
The relationship between mothers and their children. Relative.
A person related by blood or marriage.
Police are searching for relatives of the deceased. Relatively.
In a relative manner.
The situation is relatively calm now. Relax.
Become less tense, rest, or take one's ease.
Let's all relax after a hard day's work. Relaxed.
Without strain or anxiety.
A relaxed and informal discussion. Relaxing.
Helping you to rest and become less anxious.
I find swimming very relaxing. Release.
Grant freedom to.
All prisoners were released. Relevant.
Having a bearing on or connection with the subject at issue.
The scientist corresponds with colleagues in order to learn about matters relevant to her own research. Relief.
The feeling that comes when something burdensome is removed or reduced.
As he heard the news, he was suddenly flooded with relief. Religion.
A strong belief in a supernatural power or powers that control human destiny.
Ideas about the relationship between science and religion. Religious.
Concerned with sacred matters or religion or the church.
A member of a religious order. Rely.
To be dependent.
The system on which we rely for water. Rely on.
To need or depend on somebody or something.
You can rely on me for help. Remain.
Stay the same.
He remained unmoved by her tears. Remaining.
Not used up.
Save the remaining sandwiches for supper. Remains.
Any object that is left unused or still extant.
I threw out the remains of my dinner. Remark.
Make mention of.
He remarked that he had some work to finish. Remarkable.
Worthy of notice.
A remarkable achievement. Remarkably.
In a way that is worthy of attention.
You have performed remarkably. Remember.
Recall knowledge from memory.
Can you remember her phone number? Remind.
Put in the mind of someone.
Remind me to call mother. Remind of.
To bring a memory of someone or something into someone's mind.
You remind me of my brother. Remote.
Located far away spatially.
Remote stars. Removal.
The act of removing.
He had surgery for the removal of a malignancy. Remove.
Remove something concrete, as by lifting, pushing, or taking off, or remove something abstract.
Remove a wrapper. Rent.
A payment or series of payments made by the lessee to an owner for use of some property, facility, equipment, or service.
I can't afford to pay the rent. Rented.
That you pay rent for.
A rented studio. Repair.
Restore by replacing a part or putting together what is torn or broken.
She repaired her TV set. Repeat.
To say, state, or perform again.
She repeated her story. Repeated.
Recurring again and again.
His repeated complaints about the noise. Repeatedly.
Several times.
It must be washed repeatedly. Replace.
Substitute a person or thing for.
He replaced the old razor blade. Reply.
React verbally.
I try to reply to letters the day I receive them. Report.
Announce as the result of an investigation or experience or finding.
Dozens of incidents of wife beatings are reported daily in this city. Represent.
Serve as a means of expressing something.
The flower represents a young girl. Representative.
Serving to represent or typify.
Representative moviegoers. Reproduce.
Make a copy or equivalent of.
Reproduce the painting. Reputation.
Notoriety for some particular characteristic.
His reputation for promiscuity. Request.
Express a need or desire for.
She requested an extra bed in her room. require.
Require as useful, just, or proper.
Success usually requires hard work. Requirement.
Required activity.
The requirements of his work affected his health. Rescue.
Free from harm or evil.
An attempt to rescue the hostages. Research.
Attempt to find out in a systematically and scientific manner.
The student researched the history of that word. Reservation.
The act of reserving or engaging the services of.
I'll call the restaurant and make a reservation. Reserve.
Arrange for and reserve in advance.
Reserve me a seat on a flight. Resident.
Living in a particular place.
Resident aliens. Resist.
Withstand the action or effect of.
Antibodies help us to resist infection. Resistance.
The action of opposing something that you disapprove or disagree with.
He encountered a general feeling of resistance from many citizens. Resolve.
Bring to an end.
This matter cannot be resolved overnight. Resort.
Have recourse to.
The government resorted to rationing meat. Resort to.
To make use of something, especially something bad, as a means of achieving something, often because there is no other possible solution.
We had to resort to another loan from the bank. Resource.
A source of aid or support that may be drawn upon when needed.
The local library is a valuable resource. Respect.
An attitude of admiration or esteem.
She lost all respect for him. Respond.
Show a response or a reaction to something.
They were slow to respond. Response.
A bodily process occurring due to the effect of some antecedent stimulus or agent.
His responses have slowed with age. Responsibility.
The social force that binds you to the courses of action demanded by that force.
Every right implies a responsibility. Responsible.
Worthy of or requiring responsibility or trust.
A responsible adult. Rest.
Something left after other parts have been taken away.
He threw away the rest. Restaurant.
A building where people go to eat.
This restaurant has a fine reputation. Restore.
Return to its original or usable and functioning condition.
Restore the forest to its original pristine condition. Restrict.
Place limits on.
Restrict the use of this parking lot. Restricted.
Subject to restriction or subjected to restriction.
Restricted space. Restriction.
A principle that limits the extent of something.
I am willing to accept certain restrictions on my movements. Result.
A phenomenon that follows and is caused by some previous phenomenon.
Stress is the result of overwork. Result in.
To make something happen.
The cyclone has resulted in many thousands of deaths. Retain.
Hold back within.
The soil retains water. Retire.
Go into retirement.
He retired at age 68. Retired.
No longer active in your work or profession.
A retired school teacher. Retirement.
The state of being retired from one's business or occupation.
A man nearing retirement. Return.
Go or come back to place, condition, or activity where one has been before.
Return to your native land. Reveal.
Make known to the public information that was previously known only to a few people or that was meant to be kept a secret.
The actress won't reveal how old she is. Reverse.
Change to the contrary.
The trend was reversed. Review.
Look at again.
Let's review your situation. Revise.
Make revisions in.
Revise a thesis. Revision.
The act of revising or altering.
It would require a drastic revision of his opinion. Revolution.
A drastic and far-reaching change in ways of thinking and behaving.
The Industrial Revolution was also a cultural revolution. Reward.
A recompense for worthy acts or retribution for wrongdoing.
Virtue is its own reward. Rhythm.
The basic rhythmic unit in a piece of music.
The piece has a fast rhythm. Rice.
Grains used as food, either unpolished or more often polished.
A grain of rice. Rich.
Possessing material wealth.
Her father is extremely rich. Rid.
Relieved from.
Rid a house of pests. Ride.
Sit and travel on the back of animal, usually while controlling its motions.
Did you ever ride a camel? Rider.
A person who rides a horse, bicycle or motorcycle.
She's an experienced rider. Ridiculous.
Incongruous.
Her conceited assumption of universal interest in her rather dull children was ridiculous. Riding.
The sport of sitting on the back of a horse while controlling its movements.
I'm taking riding lessons. Right.
Appropriate for a condition or purpose or occasion or a person's character, needs.
The right man for the job. Rightly.
With honesty.
He was rightly considered the greatest singer of his time. Ring.
Jewelry consisting of a circlet of precious metal worn on the finger.
She had rings on every finger. Ring back.
To telephone somebody again, for example because they were not there when you called earlier, or to return a call they made to you.
I'll ask Simon to ring you back when he gets in. Rise.
Move upward.
The sun rose. Risk.
Exposed to a chance of loss or damage.
We risked losing a lot of money in this venture. Rival.
The contestant you hope to defeat.
He had respect for his rivals. River.
A large natural stream of water.
The river was navigable for 50 miles. Road.
An open way for travel or transportation.
Take the first road on the left and then follow the signs. Rob.
Take something away by force or without the consent of the owner.
The burglars robbed him of all his money. Rock.
A lump or mass of hard consolidated mineral matter.
He threw a rock at me. Roll.
The actions and activities assigned to or required or expected of a person or group.
His role as class president. Roll.
Move by turning over or rotating.
The child rolled down the hill. Romantic.
Expressive of or exciting sexual love or romance.
A romantic adventure. Roof.
The inner top surface of a covered area or hollow space.
The roof of the cave was very high. Room.
An area within a building enclosed by walls and floor and ceiling.
The rooms were very small but they had a nice view. Root.
The usually underground organ that lacks buds or leaves or nodes.
A plant's roots. Rope.
A strong line.
Secure the rope to the post. Rough.
Having or caused by an irregular surface.
Rough ground. Roughly.
With roughness or violence.
He was pushed roughly aside. Round.
Having a circular shape.
A round window. Rounded.
Curving and somewhat round in shape rather than jagged.
Rounded shoulders. Route.
An established line of travel or access.
A different route to school. Routine.
An unvarying or habitual method or procedure.
His morning routine. Row.
An arrangement of objects or people side by side in a line.
A row of chairs. Royal.
Of or relating to or indicative of or issued or performed by a king or queen or other monarch.
The royal party. Rub.
Move over something with pressure.
Rub my hands. Rubber.
An elastic material obtained from the latex sap of trees that can be vulcanized and finished into a variety of products.
The air were permeated with the odor of burning rubber. Rubbish.
Worthless material that is to be disposed of.
Throw away that rubbish. Rude.
Socially incorrect in behavior.
A rude man. Rudely.
In an impolite manner.
He rudely snatched the water pitcher. Ruin.
An irrecoverable state of devastation and destruction.
You have brought ruin on this entire family. Ruined.
Brought to ruin.
The unsuccessful run for office left him ruined politically and economically.